Thanks everyone for joining us. Before we progress, let me introduce myself. I'm Preeti. I'll be the instructor for this DevOps course, and I have almost 15 years of experience into IT and currently working as a DevOps manager for an MNC. And I'm a certified professional in Kubernetes and Terraform. Have got a good experience working with the different CI/CD strategies, building the pipelines from the scratch, infrastructure with Terraform, and deployments on Kubernetes. And I'll be going through this course from the basics till advanced concepts with the real scenarios covered. So before we progress, let me give you an idea, an overview of the course. Here we have the course content where we'll be building the pipelines from the scratch on multiple applications, covering real scenarios, integrating with different stages and different tools. Like we'll be creating a pipeline from like once developer is ready with their code, how it goes to the production table through the complete automated CI/CD stages. That's what we'll be focusing on. And like I mentioned, this course is designed for everyone. You might be a fresher or an experienced person. You might be coming from development background or a testing background or a completely nil background. This course suits you because every topic will be dealt from the basics till the advanced concepts. And the main focus is to switch your careers, clear your interviews, work in the projects with a confidence. That's the main agenda of this course. And yeah, this is the agenda for today. Today we'll be going to have some intro about DevOps, a big picture of what is DevOps, roles and responsibilities of a DevOps engineer, DevOps delivery pipeline, DevOps tools and skill set. This is the agenda for today's session. And like I said, we'll begin from basics, like what is DevOps, like why we need DevOps kind of. Some of you might be aware of it, some of you might be completely new to it. We'll be going with this pace. And also, if you have any questions or anything, you can unmute and speak out, or also use the chat window. So, good to go? Are you all set and able to hear me and see the screen? Can we proceed? And any questions related to career or any guidance, majority will be covered in today's session, or else you can reach out to us. So let's talk about what is DevOps. I'm sharing a black screen. So let us try to understand what is DevOps, how it works. It's a combination of two terms, development and operation, right? So by seeing that, we can understand it's a combination of two terms, development and operations. We all know development team is nothing but developers who write the code, who write the programs, right? And they work for the client requirements. They develop the code, build the code, test it, and so on. So this is a major part of what a development team does. And ops teams, yes, like operations, they would be looking after the infrastructure. Like they would be working with the infra services. They will be taking care of services. If some service is not running up and running, this would be taken care by them, right? They would be taking care of the network, servers, logins. All of this can be considered as ops tasks. Let's say infra management. Let's consider it as infra management. And this is where development code is developed, right? These are the, and also like, let's talk about any application. Let's say shopping application, an online shopping application, right? So if you take any application, like we are using some application or else any application reaches the end user, means it might have gone through lot many phases and so many teams and so many phases involved at the backend, right? And here we were talking about the major phases or the main teams like development team, ops team, right? And also like we have QA team, right? I'm talking about the very important teams or else the focusing on these three teams. who are involved in developing an application, development, testing, and operations. So if you look into development, they write the code, they develop the code, they build the application, right? They work for the client expectations or client requirements. And to perform all these tasks, just a second. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, madam.
Yes,
Okay.
PD, you are audible. Yeah.
Can you see the screen? Some of you are saying,
White screen would be better. It will be more visible and more
oh,
because
okay.
the red is, the letters are madam, we are unable to find out the letters in red color sometimes.
Okay, got it. Got it. Now, is that fine? Like, yeah, these are the major tasks of development team, and QA team will be working for testing an application and so on. Let's consider development team. Let's say they need to do some task of development or building the code, whatever. So, if you look in, like, they may need some infrastructure, right? They may need some servers, services to be running and so on. So to facilitate all of this, or else let's say development team needs some change in the infrastructure. Let's say they need some new operating system, or else they need some new server service and so on. They would request the ops teams. Isn't it? Ops teams is taking care of the infra management. So they would request the ops teams. Ops teams should serve the request. Let's take an example. Development team has requested for some new server. Okay, ops team has to facilitate with this to development team. Before they facilitate it, ops team has to do lot of checks. Like if everything is going wrong, is the server in running? Is the service up and running? Will this impact any services or servers or networks? Will this impact any logins? All of these checks ops teams have to perform because it's their responsibility to see that the new changes or new infra manage wouldn't affect the existing infrastructure, right? All of this should be taken care by ops team. So obviously this would take some time to provide the infra or provide the changes as developers required. Meanwhile, developers are still waiting for the change they need, right? Developers think that why ops teams have to take a lot of time to provide the required infrastructure or provide changes they need, right? Meanwhile, ops team would be not clear about why developers need these changes because if you see, developer skill set is different, right? They will be into development. They have knowledge of development, programming languages, build tools, DBs, and so on. Whereas ops teams core competencies or their skill set is completely different. Because of this, the requirements of developers is not clear to ops teams and vice versa. There arises some gap between the teams because there is no proper collaboration or no proper understanding between them because of one difference, like the differences in their core skill set, core competencies, and the differences of like understanding the requirements of each other. And there arises some gap between the teams. How to overcome this gap and how to see that these teams collaborate well and understand and work for each other in a better fashion. How to eliminate this gap between them? Any idea how to eliminate the gap between the teams? How can we eliminate this gap and see they work in proper collaboration? Yes? Any idea, any inputs? Appreciate your inputs. If you have any inputs, you can unmute and speak out, or else you can message in the chat window as well. Anyone, what do you think? How to eliminate this gap between the teams?
We can conduct meetings and get on the things and resolve.
Okay, like a proper, like continuous collaboration, continuous communication, right? We need to have a channel of continuous communication, continuous collaboration between them, right? They should work as a single team. But how is that possible? How could we pitch in with this continuous communication? How could we establish a channel of continuous communication across development team and ops teams? How is that possible? That's where like comes I'm talking about the reasons why DevOps came in. One of the reasons of why DevOps came in is to eliminate the gap between the teams, to set a proper communication channel between the teams.
right? That's one of the reasons. What are the other reasons? Is that the only reason? Obviously, there are other reasons. Like, let's talk about another reason. Okay, developers are ready with their code. Okay, they will send the code to testing team, like QA, quality assurance, right? They will send this to testers. Testers will test it. I'm talking about just the high level, right? What is testing and all? I believe you have a basic idea. Let me tell you quickly. The QA team or testing team will test whether the application is meeting the client expectations or not, functional requirements are met or not. So this is tested here. So once this is tested, like let's say testers have tested this. Let's say they find some bugs, some defects. What do? Who should fix the defects or bugs in the application?
It's
Dev team.
developers again.
Developers, right? This would be again sent to the developers. This process keep on continuing until the application is defect free, correct? Of course, again, the skill set of developers is different, QA people is different, right? They will perform their tasks, and once the application is ready, like a bug free, defect free, they will hand over this application to ops team. It's a responsibility of ops team to provide this, deploy and provide this application to end users. It's their responsibility to see that application reaches the end users. So to do that, ops teams have to deploy the application. Here in layman terms, I'm talking so that everyone will have a better idea, irrespective of your backgrounds. Deploying an application means installing the application on some servers so that they can access it, or run the application on the server so that end users can access it. So to deploy or to install or to run this application, let's say developers have developed, QA has tested, and it's a Java application, right? So this Java application may need certain version of Java on the servers. Let's assume Java 11, and it needs to run some Tomcat Server 9, whatever. For example, I'm giving some packages, some services. So ops team should know exactly which version will work, because each application will work with a different version, right? So developers, along with the application, they'll also provide some instruction document of which version of softwares and packages are needed for this application. Accordingly, ops teams have to install it. But ops teams have to install it in different servers, different operating systems, maybe on Linux, Windows, and so on. So the instructions provided by developers may not be understood by ops teams properly, or else they might be working on few servers, but not on all, because it might be working on Windows, not on Linux, or else even though they configure as per the instruction document, suddenly some upgrades may happen. They may lose the right versions, right? Compatibility versions, compatible versions. These are all the challenges ops teams will have to deploy or to run the application, provide the end users, which obviously takes a lot of time, and deployments become slow, right? So this is another challenge we have. Why is this happening? Why they are not understanding instructions provided by developers? Again, because these are two separate teams, and their core skills, core competencies are different. Am I making sense? So there would be definitely some gap in understanding the instructions provided by them. There will be gap in the communication or collaboration, right? And hence deployments become faster. Oh, sorry, deployments were slower, very slow deployments, right? Let's say application is shared to ops teams today. Let's say it might be deployed, it might be available for end users after 6 months. I'm talking about all of this without DevOps, right? So slower deployments, gap between them, and any other reason. Is the second reason clear for everyone? Whenever we learn something new, any technology, we should learn why we should learn it, right? What is it actually? How to use it? These are the three things we should focus on. So we were talking about why there is a gap, why the deployments, why the DevOps came in, because there is a gap between the teams, deployments were slower. Any other reason you could think of why DevOps came in? Yes.
This process
make
is
it-
continuous process.
And I think third reason would be the error free
Okay. Like you mean automation, right?
automation. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the other reason is if you look into the traditional development life cycle, like let's talk about software development life cycle. If anyone new here, software development life cycle is nothing but sequence of activities involved in developing an application, like requirement gathering, requirement analysis, coding, testing, delivery, and maintenance. Right? These are the different phases of development. Means an application go through different phases. First, requirements will be gathered from the client. They'll be analyzed, planning, coding, right? After this, of course, you have design, coding, testing, delivery, and maintenance. Means you have set of phases which goes one after the other, which goes one by one. So I believe you all understood what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the traditional software development lifecycle, the waterfall methodology, which served the industry for decades, right? So both the teams, like development team and testing team, both the team faced the challenges because of this approach, right? Like developers developers face the challenge. This methodology is very slow, right? Meaning, let's say developers are ready with the code. It would not immediately go for testing. It would go for testing after some months, right? Meanwhile, developers will be working on new code. Then testers will test the old code and comes with the bugs in the old code, right? It will be very difficult for developers to work on the new code along with fixing the bugs in the old code, right? This would be again really a challenge. They'll be having a lot of pressure. Also, it's not flexible. Means, let's say they were in coding phase. There is no point, there's no possibility of going back to analysis or gathering. It all just goes in one direction. It goes in one direction, one phase after the other. In gathering, analysis, coding, testing, delivery, it goes one after the other, right? So the SDLC, like there is no option of going back. It just goes in one direction, hence the model waterfall. Like waterfall, it just goes in one direction. But nowadays, almost all the clients comes with the new requirements, modifications in the requirements. There is no possibility of going back. If that is the case, it doesn't work in reality, right? If you can't accommodate new requirements, new modifications, it doesn't work in reality. So it's not flexible. Also, complete software will be delivered all at once. Like let's say like it has gone through the these phases, right? And software is developed and it will be all delivered at once after 2 years. Means let's suppose you have got the requirements in 2024. Requirements will be freeze and they'll be delivered in 2026 without accepting any modifications, any changes. If that is the case, this model doesn't work anymore, isn't it? It's a business facing world. Business changes very faster, right? The client want to provide the modifications, updates on the requirements. So it doesn't work in reality, right? These are the some of the challenges faced or posed by developers. And also for testing team, ops teams. So ops teams also face the similar challenges, like they have to maintain the servers. Their servers should be up and running, right? All the time manually. It's a slow process. It takes a lot of time. Maintaining servers for longer duration, keeping them up and running would be a challenge, right? And also poor configuration management, right? Like configuration management is a separate concept. We'll be learning that in detail. Here, I would like to give a brief on it. Configuration management means you need to have a complete history of what's happening on what server at what time. If you are doing everything manually, that's not possible. Poor configuration management. We'll be doing this configuration management with Ansible, which is very effective in the DevOps approach. But without DevOps, yes, these are the challenges. And monitoring, lost on monitoring part. Manually monitoring the health of the servers, health of the application services would be again a challenge. These are the few challenges which waterfall model pose for dev team and ops team. Here, when I say dev, I have included QA also, right? So these are some of the challenges faced by different teams. And meaning we need to eliminate or overcome the challenges posed by traditional methodologies. That's another reason why DevOps came in. Are we clear with the reasons why DevOps came in? Any questions from anyone in this part? Are we good? A quick confirmation will help me.
Yes.
Appreciate your quick confirmation.
Yes, Preeti.
Thank you.
Only this, only for these challenges, DevOps introduced or any other?
These are some of the major challenges. And if you talk about like how these challenges, like how we eliminate the gap, how the deployments become faster, and how these waterfall challenges or any traditional methodology challenges are overcome. If you understand this, you will see the real importance or you will appreciate the importance of DevOps. These are some of the challenges. And to eliminate the gap, how do we eliminate? How is this possible? To understand this, let's try to understand like why, like what DevOps is doing. Here, like I said, developers or QA team, let's say, are handing over the application to ops teams, right? They directly hand over the application instruction document and they struggle with the compatibilities and they run the application. But in DevOps approach, the way they hand over the application got changed. Developers are not directly handing the artifact to ops teams now. They will containerize it and share the image. When they share the image, it's very easy for DevOps teams to run the application on different environments, making the deployments faster. Means this process of automation from the desk of a developer, from the point of developer ready with his code, till it goes to the production table, the whole process is automated. And this process of taking the code from developer's desk to production table in automation fashion is called CI/CD pipeline. CI/CD pipeline involves different stages of development, testing, building, deployment. Of course, first deploy to lower environments till it reaches production table. This whole process of automation will help the deployments becomes faster. That's what companies need, right? They want the deployments faster. New features should be delivered to the clients at a faster pace, right? So that's a major point of like what clients would be looking at. They need the complete process of automation. Now 24/7 automation is available with this approach, right? And or the complete process automated only in the initial setup, we need more people. Once the initial setup is done, right? Once the pipeline is created, no manual intervention is needed, right? So the whole process automated and it reduces the cost of manpower and 24/7 automation is possible. Whenever new feature is available, it would reach the production table automatically. The entire process automated. It overcomes the challenges of traditional methodologies. And also here in this process, different teams work together. How I'm going to explain in few minutes. So that's how it overcomes all the challenges posed by the traditional methodologies and deployments were faster, completely automated. That's what companies or clients need, right? So this is possible with the DevOps approach. Now, almost all the gigantic companies, like if you know, Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, all of them are already implementing it. All the small companies, mid-scale companies, startups would also be stepping in. Of course, startups are all implementing it. Any other companies would be moving into this approach in a couple of years. The persons with the strongest skill set of this automation process will survive in the market in the near future. That is for sure. You need to know this complete process of automation. And whoever interested in this process of automation is nothing but a DevOps engineer. You don't need to know the code. Developers will write the code. Developers will, once the code is ready, how you are taking it to the production table in an automated fashion by executing all the phases is what is DevOps. So in this process of automation, so many tools are involved, lot of strategies are involved, which we will be learning. And before we talk about the actual what is DevOps, before we stepping into it, I would like to here take a step back and see how to overcome the challenges of waterfall methodology. How to overcome the challenges of waterfall methodology. Anyone? Like, what is the methodology that came in to overcome the challenges of waterfall methodology?
It's agile. We have agile now.
Yes, that's where Agile came in. Okay, here the intention is not to teach you waterfall or Agile, but For you to really appreciate and understand the importance of DevOps, you need to have a brief look at it. In Agile methodology, every week, every alternative week, there might be a release, right? Every week or every 15 days, there would be a release. Code is always ready and stable for release, right? And bug fixing became faster. How bug fixing became faster? How code is released every week? Let me tell you. See, here in Agile, code is developed in bits and parts. Let's say week 1, a chunk of code, a bit of code A is developed. On week 2, another chunk of code B might be developed, right? So on week 1, on week 2, this code A might be going for testing. Testers might be testing it. Here, this chunk of code A is developed on week 1. On week 2, this A will be tested. Meanwhile, on week 2, this code B, another chunk of code B might be developed. Means developers are not sitting idle. Testing and development is going on parallel. If you see week 2, both development and testing on happening, right? Also, if developers have developed some code this week, it would be tested immediately. Fixing the bugs in the code immediately will be very easy for them. So development testing are happening parallelly. Again on week 3, definitely this A and B will be combined and tested. Then only it makes a complete product, right? So if you see testing and development are happening parallelly, means testers and development team and QA team are working in parallel, in continuous collaboration, right? Because both are happening parallelly, there will be continuous communication across them. There's a proper collaboration and understanding between them. Again, it doesn't mean that testers will go and write the code or developers will go and write the test cases. No, they have their own ways, but because they have their own responsibilities, but because they were working parallelly together, there'll be set of proper collaboration across the teams. Because of this, every week there could be a code release. Any new changes can be implemented because code is not developed, means complete software is not delivered all at once, right? So this is another challenge. I mean, another thing you have, right? Because of all of this, Agile methodology has successfully overcome the challenges of dev team, but challenges of ops team are still there. Some time back, we were talking about waterfall methodology posing challenges for both the teams, right? But dev team, Agile methodology has successfully overcome these challenges, but ops teams still have the challenges. Got it, everyone? That's how Agile was helpful to certain extent, but it couldn't help ops teams much. There came again DevOps approach. And this process of development, testing, going on parallelly, and all of that combined and tested again. This is nothing but continuous development. Continuous testing means testing development are going on parallelly, iteratively, continuously. Continuous integration. We will talk about this in detail, and also we are going to see this practically in the course. Here I'm just giving you a high level picture. Because Agile implements continuous development, continuous testing, continuous integration, this is possibility successful to certain extent. But still deployments were faster, right? How to automate that? That's where again DevOps came in. Can I go ahead? So if you want me to differentiate this, just give me a second. If you ask me to compare these methodologies, if you talk about software like waterfall methodology, right? You have development. After complete development, then comes testing. Okay. And then comes deployment, one after the other. Each phase goes one after the other, and then monitoring. Everything manual, one after the other. And in this process, 3 teams work as separate teams, like dev team, QA team, and ops team. There is no proper collaboration, no proper understanding. Each team is working separately in silos. Okay. Then came Agile methodology. With Agile, Yes, development and testing are become parallel. Continuous development, continuous testing, continuous integration, but then deployment. Once it is done, it would be deployed and then monitored. These were manual, one after the other, right? So in this process, dev team and QA team were brought together, but ops team is still left in silos. In ISO, brought together means they understand each team's challenges, the process. So why they are requesting this? What is the requirement? So that's what we mean here when they are working with proper collaboration. So they were brought together in Agile. So it was successful to a certain extent. So then came DevOps. Sorry. So then came DevOps, where you have continuous development, continuous testing, continuous integration, continuous deployment, and continuous monitoring. The term continuous is important. It is like the term continuous is important. Every phase is going on parallelly, iteratively. What do we mean? Let's say developers have made some code changes. They made some code. Okay, let's say for a new feature, they develop some new feature. It would be immediately going for testing, integration, and it would be deployed first to lower environments, then to the production automatically, and then it would be monitored. The whole process is automated and reaches the production. Right? This is called CI/CD pipeline, continuous integration, continuous delivery pipeline. The whole process is automated. Facebook is a best example for this. You might have seen, right? A new feature will be deployed immediately the next day. Let's say some pandemic arrives, right? Immediately you will see some new features in the website as per the requirement. How come the new features are delivered so faster? Why doesn't it take a 1 month or 2 months like in Waterfall or in Agile to reach the end users? If you see, like immediately, if you need some requirement that is available for end users these days. Facebook is the best example for this. Many companies, I mean, many applications we use regularly were implementing this CI/CD, and we are seeing the new features very faster. So that's what companies need: faster deployment, complete automation, 24/7 automation possible. Obviously, less cost. That's what orgs are looking at. And this is how you can differentiate the three teams. This is what is DevOps: the continuous development, continuous testing, continuous integration, continuous deployment, and continuous monitoring. And this is possible by integrating the tools. Once developer is ready with the code, once testers are ready with the test cases, how do you build the code in the pipeline? How do you execute those test cases in the pipeline? How do you deploy it? What are the different tools? How do you deploy it to lower environments? Then how do you get the approvals to go to production? And how it reaches them, how it is monitored and feedback is sent. This is what is DevOps. I'm trying to explain what DevOps is. We were talking about why DevOps came in and what DevOps is all about. Means, in simple, it's a methodology. It's not a programming knowledge, or it's not a tool. It's not a some scripting language kind of. It's a methodology actually. It's a process. It's a methodology. Like you have waterfall and all. It's a methodology. And also, like we hear that, okay, DevOps is implemented in our project. From tomorrow, we are getting into DevOps, or else we got it. It is not something which you achieve in an overnight. It's a process where different teams to collaborate, should discuss. There will be continuous communication with development team and ops teams. Right? That's what the main thing about DevOps, where you need a continuous collaboration or communication with the development team, testing team, and so on. Got this clear? Any
Yes.
questions? Any queries here? It's a continuous process of improvement. You cannot say, okay, in an overnight we achieve DevOps. It takes some time to build this pipeline and also to build the effectiveness of the pipeline, because it should be improved continuously. It takes some time to build the pipeline from the scratch. And once the pipeline is built, there will be continuous feedback and continuous improvements, modifications required on this pipeline. So this is what is DevOps. Now that we understood what is DevOps, why DevOps came in, yeah, this see whatever I have explained here is documented in this presentation. This presentation will be provided for you as a notes for reference. Whatever we discussed till now, everything is documented. See here, Agile versus Waterfall versus DevOps. In Waterfall, you have each phase one after the other. In Agile, you have continuous coding and testing, but deployment is again at a later point manually. But in DevOps, you have all this in a continuous fashion. So the roles and responsibilities of a DevOps person means you should be able to work at any stages in the CI/CD pipeline. You will be working at any phases or any stages in the CI/CD pipeline, also build the infrastructure with the Terraform, maintaining your infrastructure on cloud. All of these are the roles and responsibilities of DevOps. Skills and tools of a DevOps person. Before we proceed, we will be talking about specific roles and responsibilities as we get into the course. And yeah, these are the tools we'll be covering. Version control systems like Git, build automation tool Maven, continuous integration tool Jenkins, containerization tool Docker, infrastructure as a code tool Ansible or Terraform, container orchestrators Kubernetes, Docker Swarm, monitoring tool Prometheus, and visualization tool Grafana, and cloud computing on certain AWS services, whichever are helpful for DevOps. This is a list of tools, a very brief list of the tools on a high level. And like if you see version control systems, what is version control system? Why do we need them? We'll learn it. But let me tell you here, when you talk about the version control systems, like Git and all, like if you look into any tool, version control system or build automation tools, there are many tools under each category. Means if you look into version control system, there were Git, TFS, SVN, and so on. We'll be learning Git, the market leader. Whichever is widely used, we are learning it. Also, if you master one tool in the category, you can work with any tools in the category without any separate coaching, right? You can self-learn by exploring if you master one tool in the category. So that's the expectation of covering Git, Maven, and so on. And this, whichever are very widely used, which are very important, those are all the tools we have listed in each category. And there is a lot of course content in Docker, Docker Swarm, Kubernetes, Terraform, and so on. This is just a brief list of the tools. Any questions from anyone?
Preeti, Docker and Kubernetes serves the same purpose?
No, they are both different tools, completely different tools.
And what is the okay, Docker, Kubernetes is for the containerization, right?
Docker is for containerization. Kubernetes is for container orchestration. What is each tool, the architecture of each tool, everything, for every tool will be going into from basics till advanced concept, then come back and put it in the pipeline. We will learn what it is, what is the difference, everything. But both are two different tools. Like here I mentioned,
SonarQube also will you cover?
SonarQube will not be covered. SonarQube is a code coverage or code analysis tool. It's a developer tool, but it would be integrated in the Maven builds. So that way you will learn any code coverage tool. How do you integrate in Maven? That idea you will get. Will not be
That is
covered.
also very trending in the market current, right?
It is a developer tool. It's a trending in market. It's a developer tool for code coverage or coverage analysis, which developers will take care of integrating those plugins in the Maven builds. Maven is also a developer tool, but we have integrated in the pipeline so that you will see like how builds can be automated or this coverage analysis can be automated. So when we are covering Maven, you will be getting an idea of how to do automated builds, how code coverage analysis or all of this can be done. So specific to SonarQube will not be covered, but how these stages can be executed will be covered with Maven.
By using this script, by using these tools, we must be use some script, right? What are the scripts we can cover?
By using these tools, we don't like these tools doesn't use the scripts. Like if you see Jenkins, Jenkins file will be used. Jenkins is a Groovy base. It's not exact Groovy, it's a derived from Groovy. It's a, we can say it's a pipeline domain specific language. Those will be covered when we get into the tools. And one more thing is, majority of the tools would need Linux. Linux also will be covered in the course. We'll be covering Linux basics. If anyone new to Linux, you don't need to worry. We'll be covering the Linux basics, whichever needed to get into the Linux platform.
I mean, any Groovy or any scripts are not required? Tool,
Groovy scripting is not required, but writing Jenkins file is required, which will be covered.
any for any customization might be required, right?
It's not mandatory. Okay, we'll be
Custom.
covering anyway shell scripting, but scripting is not mandatory for DevOps. It's a part of it. Not that every job description or every role uses scripting. It's a part of it.
Okay. I have a roadmap for DevOps.
Yes, we do have it. We'll you can check it on the website as well. And if you see here, this is the CI/CD pipeline I'm talking about. Right? This is just a high-level picture. Developers write the code and place the code in version control system, and we have a Jenkins continuous integration tool which will pull the code and build it using Maven. And whatever test cases, whatever test automation is done using Selenium or UFT or JMeter or JUnit, whatever, those test cases will be executed and then deployed using tools like Docker, Kubernetes, Ansible, Terraform. Each has their own purpose. Application will be containerized, deployed in the Kubernetes cluster. This infra might be provisioned by Terraform and configured by Ansible. That's just one word I'm telling about each tool. There is a lot to learn from each tool, and then monitored and feedback is sent. This is the CI/CD pipeline. In the course, once we start, we'll zoom into each section here. Like first, we will be getting into, one second, sorry. So we'll be zooming into each section. First, learn Git from basics till advanced concepts. Then come back and start the pipeline here. Then learn Jenkins, right? Add it to the pipeline. Then go back and learn Maven, come back and add to pipeline. Means we'll be building this pipeline step by step. We'll be zooming into each tool, each stage, learn it thoroughly and keep on building the phase one after the other, which would take some couple of months for us. That's the complete course is all about. And this CI/CD pipeline will be built on two applications, a monolithic application as well as a microservice application, covering the real scenarios and the strategies. And another thing you have to notice here, DevOps is covered irrespective of the platform. It's a methodology. It's not specific to on-prem servers or cloud. So we'll be learning DevOps, which you can implement irrespective of the platform. So you may apply it on on-prem, or else I'll show you one example with the cloud or like AWS as an example as well. I'll also show you how to implement this CI/CD on cloud using certain cloud specific services like AWS code commit, code build, code pipeline, and so on. So it's a methodology, irrespective of the platform, irrespective of the technology which your application is developed in, you can develop the CI/CD pipelines and implement DevOps. That's the main agenda of the course. After learning this, you could implement this CI/CD process on any platform, on any cloud, or else on-prem. Right? Each tool, like like I said, anyone with who are completely new to the tools would feel comfortable by going through this session. It's designed in such a way that everyone should benefit out of the course. Any queries?
CI/CD operations, where is that? Can you please show?
This is CI/CD pipeline. Developers are writing the code. It's pulled, built, right? And then tested, deployed. Every change developers make will go through this process of continuous building, continuous testing, continuous deployment, and continuous monitoring. Can you see those phases? This is nothing but CI/CD. This is continuous development, continuous builds, continuous testing, continuous deployment, continuous monitoring. And when you talk about DevOps, today it's a day one, it's an intro or a high level picture. We are getting into theory. It would be completely practicals from day two. Tomorrow itself, we'll be starting the hands-on. Hands-on is a mandatory because it's not a theory, everything you have to execute. So how to set up the lab, how do you or where do you do the labs, how are the labs facilitated, all of that, let me show you. Initially, for Git, you can execute on your own laptop, like your local machine, you can do. From Jenkins onwards, we'll be building our lab on AWS. How to create AWS account, how do we build, how do we configure these tools for our learning, all of that will be covered.
Why we use AWS? Why not Azure or GCP?
Like I said, it's not cloud specific. It's not platform specific. It could be any cloud. You may use AWS or you may use Azure or GCP. The expectation from the companies when we sit in the interview panels, we look at the candidates who are flexible to switch to any platform, because today it's AWS, Azure or GCP. Tomorrow there could be some other cloud, because latest, new technologies or the cloud, different clouds are emerging in the market, right? Particularly DevOps, it's a stack of tools. It's a complete automation and a stack of tools. New tools are emerging in the market. People should be flexible enough to switch to any cloud or any tool. I have chosen AWS. If you want, you could also choose Azure or something and implement DevOps. It's not a reason for why AWS is picked up. It could be Azure or GCP or anything.
Preeti, I have it. I have.
I'm covering one cloud. Yes, please.
Yeah, thank you. So Preeti, now, so as you said, will be using AWS platform as a lab or as a practice session will be executed on AWS. So which means we will be following the exact way. We will be just mimicking as you are doing on your computer, correct? Or on your AWS account. So
Correct.
we create our own AWS account, and whatever you're doing, we are mimicking the same thing on our AWS account on different tools. Am I correct?
Correct. Correct. You
Okay,
will do whatever I do here. Apart from this, you will also be given with the additional assignments for like a
cool.
homework kind of for your practice.
Got it. Thank you.
First thing is, yes, you will do whatever I do in the class on regular basis. Hands-on is very important. This is the right time to effort your time and learn these tools. And you have to invest your time here and dedication. That's what we are looking at.
Got it. Thank you. Please go on.
Hands-on is mandatory. Here, if you see, if you go to this website, of course, I'll come to the syllabus in a while. Here are the tools. Like if you see, I'll be covering Git first. How to set up Git, where to set up Git, how it works on different operating systems. What is Git architecture, what are the advanced questions, concepts in Git, completely will be covered from the scratch till you are comfortable working in the project. Means by the time we finish Git, you will be quite comfortable working with Git. You would be quite comfortable and confident in clearing the interview questions on Git. This is the main agenda. You'll be quite comfortable working with Git in your projects, right? So that's how you'll be cleared with this. How do you achieve it? Yes, you should do whatever I do in the class, not immediately in the session, after the session, because you have to first listen and then you'll be provided with the recordings. Go back and do whatever we did in the class. Apart from this, you will have day 3, day 4, you have day-wise assignments, quizzes. Every day you will have an assignment, and these are the commands or things that might be covered the day. And if you go to the assignment, see here, right? You have different scenarios, use cases every day. And the lab, of course, you will get access to this. First, tool or first few classes might be available with public access. Later on, these access will be held for private access only. And if you go to the quiz portal for every day, this is to register the concepts, right? When you revise, these quizzes will help you evaluate yourself and register the concepts better.
So is
So
it basically a questionnaire?
yes, questionnaire. So that will help you to revise, and also separate interview questions topic wise, starting with the beginner level. Yeah, here itself you have intermediate level, advanced level, and scenario based questions. So you will master each tool one by one. It's not just learn the tool and move on. Learn the tool, go back and put it in CI/CD pipeline. Implement, build up our pipeline day by day. That's a
Yeah.
we. And
Also, one more
also,
question, Preeti.
one
Uh,
second, please.
okay.
I just want to make one more thing clear here. I told that we'll be building our lab on AWS. It doesn't mean that after learning this course, you will be able to build DevOps only on AWS. It is covered. You will understand as we progress the difference. Once we get in only, you will see the difference. You will be, I'm covering here DevOps in such a way that you will be able to implement it on-prem as well as on one cloud, example AWS. You could also implement on other clouds because the analogy would be same and the concepts would be similar. With a little difference, you could apply, means with a little exploration, you could also apply it on different clouds. It's not just AWS specific course.
Yeah, that is clear. Yeah, that is totally depends on the company, the service
Yes.
they have taken in the companies.
You
That's
learned
absolutely fine.
AWS, or else if you put in your resume that you know AWS, means companies expect that. Yes, you could work in Azure or GCP. It's not that they recruit only for AWS because they want people who are flexible to work on different technologies, who can grasp the technologies quickly. Also, they recruit AWS, like if you're working on AWS, they recruit you for GCP. So that's how it is. And the course facilitates you with those options. You can work on different platforms after this course. Yes, can
Yeah,
someone go
thanks,
on?
Preeti.
Just stop
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah. So Preeti, DevOps is what I understood is more about troubleshooting, like 70%, like we troubleshoot in DevOps. Okay. So are you, as you have experience, so are you tell us whether like real time scenarios, like what could be like the possibility or such scenarios where we can stuck while creating a pipeline or while learning Kubernetes or something. That's what in real time we might face, right? The same scenarios or something.
Definitely. Please keep muted, everyone, if you don't have a question. Aishwarya, please keep muted. Thank you. Thank you. So I got your question. So yes, the topics, whenever we are covering any particular topic, the relevant scenarios which we face in the projects and also the expected questions in the interviews, how to handle the particular scenario or the use case will be covered. Definitely, like what are the challenges we face and what are the use cases we see where we need to troubleshoot will be covered with respect to the real scenarios with the personal experience. And another thing here is like I got to, or else what I see is people think that DevOps is all about only troubleshooting or fixing. There are different things in DevOps. Like let me tell you, the people call it as in general DevOps development or DevOps support. It doesn't mean DevOps development means DevOps people are going and writing the code. DevOps development meaning you might be building the pipeline from the scratch. Let's say a project is new, you join the project as a DevOps engineer, you might be involved in building the pipeline from the scratch, designing the CI/CD pipeline and building the infra, everything. You are there and you work as a DevOps. It's like a DevOps development, right? There is another thing. Let's say pipelines are already built. Different companies have different structure, different design, different projects follow different things. There are companies or projects where DevOps team will build, that's called DevOps development, will build the pipelines from the scratch, will build the infra, or else there'll be separate team of DevOps who will build the infra using Terraform and so on. That's a one kind of project. There will be another kind where developers will build the pipelines themselves And DevOps team will support the pipelines. Means, okay, developers have built the pipelines, have built their infra, but let's say somewhere it is stuck up. Then they will go to the DevOps support team, right? So you haven't built it, but you have to fix the pipelines, fix the broken pipelines, or else infra is having an issue. There's a connectivity issues to the infra kind of you would be working on. That's called DevOps support. So whatever you call it, either it is development or support, you need to have a thorough knowledge on like what each tool does, how they are connected. Like you need to have an understanding of all these tools and CI/CD from the beginning till the end. So it depends. You might be in support today, tomorrow you might be into development. Development here, I mean, building them from the scratch or working for creating the stages or modifying the stages. Support is like only when they have an issue, you fix it. Even both the roles are challenging at times. It depends on the orgs, it depends on the project, but that's how it is. So it's not always about just fixing the issues. It could be creating from the scratch. It depends on the companies, projects, and so many other factors. And also again, when you talk about Kubernetes, you might have heard Kubernetes admin team or Kubernetes development team. Again, Kubernetes development team means who make the deployments, who work for the application or development team to help them deploy by creating Kubernetes objects. Admin team is like who work for building the underlying infrastructure, building the Kubernetes cluster, managing their volumes, managing their backup, recovery and all. Sometimes in some companies, everything will be done by the same DevOps team, right? The building the pipelines, Kubernetes setup, everything, or else there could be separate DevOps team for this, or else in some companies, particularly for startups, everything might be handled by a single DevOps team. So it all depends, but different designations, different roles given as per the requirement and their design. So you don't need to worry about, okay, it's a Kubernetes development means, should it be a separate course, or else it's a development team in DevOps means, should I learn coding? No. Again, it is DevOps only. I believe you got the difference, right?
Yes, Preeti, I got it.
And also, there will be a lot of questions. I want to answer those general questions which we face very regularly. In every batch, definitely we'll receive those questions. Like, I'm a developer. After becoming a DevOps person, or else collaboration means, is the same team writing the code, testing and doing DevOps tasks? No. Still, there will be separate teams. Proper collaboration means different teams work together with the continuous communication and proper understanding. So there'll be separate developer teams still there. Developers are still there. They write the code. Testers are still there who write the test cases. DevOps team will take the code, build it through the pipeline automatically, execute those test cases automatically. Depending on if the test case passed or failed, it would be deployed to different environments and then to the final environment to production. That's what is DevOps. So for DevOps engineer, you don't need to be a developer, you don't need to be a tester, or you don't need to be an ops person or somehow. A person who have the knowledge of this automation process of after development till it reaches production table can become a DevOps engineer. Here I want to stress one more thing. Let's say you are a developer for 15 years. Now you want to switch to DevOps career. Yes, you can do that and you will be working in this automation phase. You will not be working in developing your application, right? Same is the case with any other careers if you want to make a switch. You will not be working as a developer. You will be working in this process of automation. Another general question is, I'm a developer. I still want to be a developer only. I have passion for development, or else I like to be a tester only. I like to be a DB admin only. Should I still learn DevOps? Yes, everyone, even though you want to continue as a developer only, as a Java developer or Python developer, you still want to continue, still you have to learn. The reason is in the beginning, I just mentioned, right? The way of handing over the application changed. Earlier, they used to just take a step back and recollect the things we discussed. Earlier, how they are sharing the application? They were sharing the application like development team, QA team. Once testing is done, coding is done, application is defect free, they share the application along with the instruction document to ops teams. So ops teams have to check the compatibilities of the versions, the operating systems and all. They see the application reaches the end users, right? it will be very challenging, deployments were faster. So to facilitate this now, dev team, when I say dev team, I'm including QA also. They are not sharing the application this way, but they are going to share the application, the containerized format, so that it would be very easy for DevOps team to deploy it irrespective of the compatibilities, which makes the deployments faster. Means the way the application is handed over is also changed, which makes the difference. Means even though you are a developer, you should know how to containerize it, why you should containerize it, what are the challenges you face after containerizing it, correct? So yeah, obviously developers also should learn it, even though you don't want to become a DevOps engineer. Am I making sense?
Yes, Preeti.
I see in projects, I worked in some projects or else in some companies where some of the developers, or else in every company it would be the case, developers may not be knowing this containerization process. Their DevOps team should pitch in again. Or else sometimes developers will create the, what is containerization, how developers will do it, we'll see that later. But let's say, okay, they have containerized it. They have put it in CI/CD pipeline. There would be again issues coming because they might not have followed the best practices because it's not their core competency. So now companies are looking for everyone, be you are a developer or a tester or whoever it is, you should know the concepts of DevOps. It's a methodology, right? Whoever involved in the process, all the teams should know these concepts and should have expertise in these technologies. It's not just DevOps teams. Of course, deployment tools, kind of, it could be fine. Developers need not know it, but there is no strict rule. You might have seen, right? Some companies, developers also create their infra with Terraform. Sometimes DevOps teams does that. It means that like everyone should have knowledge of these tools. Even though there is a separate team, still infra might be created by them. Support might be provided by DevOps teams. So it's a various aspects, strategies in the how the teams are built and their roles. So it's a good time to take these and learn these technologies seriously.
Maybe one
What
more
is
question. You mentioned like first we will be creating one pipeline, okay? Like while we learning all those things, then you told us like we can take an example for AWS as well because in AWS there will be some different things like Terraform initialize, apply, and all those things will be included in CI/CD pipeline, right? So that example also are you going to teach us while we can?
So you are talking about automating the creating infrastructure.
Uh, Not, but I'm just talking about the pipeline. Yeah, something similar. Which related to AWS, which
You
has
mean,
some,
okay, you mean, are we integrating all the tools and creating the pipeline?
yeah.
Yes,
Mm.
including, yeah, we will have a pipeline, CI/CD pipeline, like if you see, which I have shown. Yes, all the tools will be integrated. Complete infrastructure provisioning can also be integrated in the CI/CD part. See, that's why whenever I talk about CD part, deployment, I have integrated all the tools. If we were saying continuous deployment, okay, you are deploying your application, but where is the infra? Infra should be first provisioned, right, before you deploy. Even that is automated here using Terraform. Yes, Terraform apply all these commands. You see, you will have the Terraform config files ready. Those would be applied with the pipeline and infrastructure would be created with the pipeline for the first time. Next time, okay, infra is already ready. It would not recreate. If infra is in place, yes, it will check it will compare the plan. If it is already in place, it will go for deployment in the second run of the pipeline. Or else, let's say some infra has damaged, it was destroyed. It would recreate and then go for deployment. All of that will be handled via this pipeline only.
Okay, got it.
And also, yes, we integrate all this way. Like I'm saying, it's not a strict rule that you should integrate Terraform here. There are stages where people use Terraform and run Terraform plan manual and also create the infra. That is a different aspect of it. But yeah, in the CI/CD pipeline, you could integrate it. But it's not a strict rule that you should integrate all the tools and everything in the pipeline.
No,
See,
just for hands-on practice, we can,
yes,
right, from
we
our
do.
end. Yeah, yeah.
We do that in
Okay.
our course. I show you manually, also in the pipeline. I'm talking about in reality. There
Mhm.
are pipelines where it is integrated and where it is automated through the pipeline. There are also cases where they create the infra manually. Different use cases are available. It's not a hard and strict rule that, okay, you should integrate every tool in the pipeline, then only it's a DevOps. Here, yeah, DevOps is a huge stack of tools. But here we need to understand, as a DevOps engineer, you are the person who will design this, who will decide. Of course, architects will be there and all, who will decide what stages should we include in the pipeline, how to design the pipeline. It depends on each use case, each requirement varies. It's not that because, okay, this is a DevOps tool, let's go and put it in the pipeline, let's automate it, right? We are the one who decide, or we should be wise enough to choose whether we should use this tool or not, whether we need automation or whether we should go for manual step here. You will get an understanding of this as we progress with the course and see the real scenarios.
Hello, excuse me.
Yes. Hi.
So actually, I have one concern about the DevOps tools. See, these tools are quite sufficient because the market there are plenty of tools are available, and many organizations are using different tools with different projects, right? It varies from different to different. So how do we manage if which we are covering in this course?
Yeah, like I mentioned some time back, I was talking about this, right? Inversion control system. If you look into this category, there are again a bunch of tools. Like if you see Git, SVN, you have TFS, you have, right? And many more. Similarly, there are so many build automation tools like Maven and Gradle and so on, right? There are so many tools. Yes, different projects, different companies uses different tools. But here I am covering the market leaders, means which are very widely used in the market. If you see version control systems, particularly in the DevOps approach, in the modern DevOps projects, Git is very widely used. We are covering it. But let's say there might be a chance 20% projects are in TFS, let's suppose. You are placed into that project. Still, you can be comfortable because these tools under the same category follows similar concepts and similar analogy. So if you master Git, you can very easily switch to SVN or any other tool. Similarly, if you master Maven, you could switch to other tools. Same is the case with any other tool. Here I am covering the tools which are very widely used, right? And also, like I just mentioned, companies are not looking for, do you know Git? Okay, let's take for Git project. No. If you know some version control system, they're expecting that you could work on any other. They could recruit you for some project where they use SVN also. That's the expectation. And like you mentioned already, DevOps is a stack of tools. Tools are emerging day by day. You don't have a list. We don't have a prescribed list. Okay, only these are the tools used across. But the tools, whichever are very widely used, which have a great share in the market, we are covering, you will be having that advantage. But yeah, like when you are seeing other tool, this is how you should switch across. It's not possible for you to learn Git, SVN, TFS, clear case, and so on in this category where you spend only on version control systems for a year and you then start learning tools for build automation, all the tools, and that's not possible, right? That's not possible, not required also. Companies don't look for a person who know all version control systems, but company need a person who know end-to-end pipeline using different tools under each category so that the combination would different. Combination varies. In some projects, we are using Docker, Kubernetes, Prometheus. In some projects, we use again Docker, but Docker Swarm and Datadog, another monitoring tool. Or in some projects, it all differs with respect to particularly the registries. There is a ECR, right? Nexus, JFrog, and so on. Different registries are used in different companies. Even they have their own registries. You don't know those registries, right? Companies will have their own registries to store images. Those are all custom tools or custom registries used by the orgs. If you know one registry, how to work it, you would be working with any other. That is the agenda of the course.
So is this the same thing applicable for upcoming, future tools also? For example, currently we are using Ansible, those things. Earlier they were using Puppet and all. So in the future days, new tools will be introduced, right? So
See,
do we need to upgrade for that,
I
or we
want
don't need it for that?
I want to correct you here. It's not that earlier Puppet is used, now Ansible is used. Even now Puppet is also used. Puppet is still used. Why not Puppet? Puppet is also used. But Ansible has got a market share more. We are learning Ansible. You might be placed in a project where Puppet is used. If you learn Ansible as a lead or a manager, I look for resources. If you are learning, if you know Ansible means, I would feel that you would be working on Puppet comfortably. It's not that you know Ansible, you will be given work only on Ansible. Puppet
No,
is
my question,
used.
my
I got
intention
your
is
question.
my intention is so the tools are changing up day to day, right? New tools are coming in trending market. So my intention is, do we really upgrade for the new tools upcoming tools, or every time rest of our life in
Yes,
DevOps?
Okay,
of course,
Preeti,
continuous learning should be there in DevOps. Yes,
Preeti,
continuous.
on a real time, in a practical world, yes, if we want to survive in IT industry, we have to upgrade ourselves every now and then.
Correct. True. Tools are changing. Only we are looking at flexibility and we are looking at people who can work. If you know Ansible, I expect you will work on Puppet tomorrow. Or else any other tool comes up, yes, you should be comfortable getting onto it. It's a continuous learning. Even though as a fresher or a beginner or experienced person or a manager or a whatever it is, it's a continuous process of learning. Even I learn till today, every day I learn something new. If we don't learn, that's the end of our career.
Yeah, any tool which comes into the market will be an extension of the existing functionality only, right?
It's
Let
not
us let
Okay,
us
so
speak, let us speak, please.
Preeti, let me answer this.
sure.
See, not all the companies would go for, okay, there is a new product and, okay, we have to take the new product. It's not like that. The companies will think twice or think 10 times before taking that product, because the companies will be comfortable working with the existing environment or existing infrastructure. They don't switch to any new technology immediately.
Yeah. So there'll be so many factors when choosing a tool: the budget, the use cases, the requirement, the resources availability, and who are available to work on those products. Many factors are considered.
Mainly, they don't want to compromise with the customer service, because everything that we are doing for the customer satisfaction. And if any one implementation of a tool would affect in customer satisfaction, so we have to be very careful before implementing the tool. As Preeti rightly said, it's about the budget, it's about the people who know, who can work, who can troubleshoot those tools, matters a lot.
True.
Who is the trainer? Preeti, right? Yeah, let her speak, please.
If resources are having the knowledge and there are people from different backgrounds and different experience levels here, so it's a free to share your inputs. There's no wrong in sharing the inputs and discussion.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
healthy
My
discussion.
question is one more question. So how competition in DevOps actually? So
Sorry?
with comparing to the real times, how competition now in DevOps?
Yeah, of course, there'll be competition, right? There'll be resources who are learning these tools, and even we have a huge set of resources who are coming with this skill set. Still, there is a scarcity as well. There is a lot of opportunities, and still we are looking for people with the skill set.
Okay, thank you.
Really very hot in the market, so there were so many people learning these tools, and people with the strongest skill set will be always having edge over others. And also there was a lot of opportunities, and we can say, like, as you learn this course, the opportunities are more.
Yeah, understood.
So I think
Priti, one more question. What's the difference in the dev security operations? I mean, what is the roles and responsibility for security operation? And do we covering those things in our course?
security will not be covered more. It would be like dev SecOps, like concentrating more on security part. Those will not be covered here. We'll be focusing on DevOps.
Okay, and what will be the role maybe mostly for them? Like the difference between
DevOps engineer only, DevOps engineer role only, with the security as a main objective.
Okay.
So are you covering SRE also?
SRE will not be covered. It's a completely different part. SLIs, creating SLIs, SOLOs, SLA, those are completely different topic.
SRE also, some of the tools are using in DevOps, right?
No, SRE is completely more about
roles?
observability.
Okay, the roles will be different, right?
Yes. So I think I have explained you the complete agenda and how the course will be dealt on everyday basis with the provided labs and assignments. Go through it, and also I would like to go through the
Please share the curriculum.
here is the course content. You can go through the detailed course content is available here. You can go through this as well. I'm sharing this page in the
How
chat.
long this course would be? How long the duration of the course?
2 months course. It's a 2 months course.
And you are also covering in-depth on AWS as well, right?
Whatever services I'm covering on AWS is listed here. You can check that. AWS, it's not a AWS course. It's a DevOps course on AWS platform.
Yeah, I mean, advanced level of AWS cloud you are covering in this course.
Advanced topics of AWS is different from advanced topics of AWS services. Like here, AWS services, whichever needed for DevOps, I'm covering. Like if you see AWS on EKS is covered. Okay, there's a lot of course content here. We did not add the course content much, but AWS EKS is a paid, a managed service. Even that is covered from basics till advanced. This is covered. Like whatever services we need, like these are all the services covered. Okay. And each these code pipeline, code deploy, code commit, code build, whichever needed for DevOps will be covered.
So
Whatever
all that
services we need, whatever services we need for our DevOps, all of that are covered in detail. Not the complete AWS. AWS is having some 200 services. AWS specific course will be there if you want to learn all AWS services. That's not the agenda here.
Okay. So one more question actually. So we will get access of this exercise everything from lifetime, right?
Yes.
After
And-
this course, do we need to concentrate on any certification? And if that, then what kind of certifications do you suggest? Like which on which certification do we need to concentrate more?
If you are interested, you can go for certifications like Kubernetes, Terraform. You can go for those certifications. There will be no specific certification for DevOps. You have to do certification of individual tools like Ansible, Docker, or Kubernetes, Terraform. If you are interested, you can go for it. It's a personal choice or preference as per the requirement of the role. Some of them will pick up the certifications. So it's not
Yep.
mandatory.
Which
Yeah.
one is more demanded? Like which one is more preferred one? Like Terraform or
You ask me from my personal experience as I'm a certified Kubernetes professional, I would say Kubernetes and Terraform.
Kubernetes and Terraform? Okay. Yep.
You will be driving this course a lot, right?
Yes. Yes.
How much in depth are we going into Kubernetes? As like you must have some experience into that.
We'll be covering the advanced topics as well, Piyush. You can check the course content there. All the advanced concepts, majority of them are covered, right? You can go through the course content. It will help you to claim 3 to 4 years experience as well. And also, like I said, right, EKS is covered in the course. EKS is a paid service, a managed service, which is used in reality actually a lot. Even that is covered.
Well, this training will good enough to drive alone in the market to work alone
Yes.
without any support.
Yes.
We'll get this confident, right?
Yes, you will get the confidence.
Even though, and will you able to any support after the course, like when we stuck in the real time?
Yeah, separate WhatsApp group will be created with the registered students where we'll be providing support for your questionnaires when you're stuck up during your hands-on. That's
Yeah,
all.
for any quick resolution or quick help, kind of.
Yes, WhatsApp support will be there.
Okay, that's good. Great. And we
Not
really
a-
appreciate
I
your
just
platform,
want to
actually.
clear here, it's not a job support. Okay, it's a
Yeah. We don't,
yes.
understood.
Yeah. And like I see from this group, we have people from different experience levels, different expertise. We have manager roles here, we have freshers. Thanks everyone for joining and sharing your inputs. It will help us learn better in such a heterogeneous environment, people coming from different backgrounds, different experience.
Finally, what is the timings, madam?
Same timing, 7:30 to 9.
Okay, even after demo also.
Yes.
So demo also next 2 classes, sir. How many classes it will be?
Next 3 classes. I think 2 classes. 2 more classes.
Oh, okay.
And there is a question from Gupta. I'm a system administrator, want to switch to DevOps. Should I begin with this course or is there any separate course for us? This course will suit you, Gupta. If you have any particular like use cases or if you want to have any career guidance, you can reach out to Mr. Raj for any queries. His number is available in the website. For any queries regarding the job, regarding the content or anything, you can reach out Mr. Raj on this number.
Whom to contact for fee details?
Same number. You have to reach out to Mr. Raj on this number.
Okay, thank you. I'll reach.
He's the career counselor who can guide you and suggest you anything needed.
Ma'am, this is Chandra.
Yeah,
Hello.
hi, Chandra.
Yeah, I'm completely non-IT background. Actually, I completed MBA.
Yep.
Hello.
Yeah, please
Yeah,
go ahead.
yeah. Non-IT background. So I want to switch into IT background. Is it possible to learn this DevOps tools, ma'am? I don't have any coding skills or else something else.
Coding skills are not required for this course, Chandra, but for specific career counseling or guidance, you can reach out to Mr. Raj. He's a better career counselor. You can just ping him on this number and call and talk to him. He can help you.
Okay. How many months this course duration, ma'am? Actually, I joined half an hour of late.
A 2 months course. It's a 2 months course. The timings are 7:30 to 9.
Are you supporting for resume preparation as well as mock interviews, right?
Yes, resume preparation, mock interviews will help you with all of that.
After getting a job, in the initial days also, are you going to support, right?
No, we don't provide job support.
Okay. For if any in the project requirement, there is any work scenario in the time, if I have a doubt, in WhatsApp group, you are
Yes.
giving clarity, right?
Yes.
Okay, madam. Thank you.
Yeah.
Madam, you will cover any, I mean, you will provide any demo, capstone projects for, right?
We'll be working, we'll be creating the CI/CD pipeline on 2 applications covering real scenarios. One is a monolithic application and the one is microservice application.
But this from scratch, from Git to, because it's Docker, we need any kind of capstone project?
We are covering it on the applications. Yes, we are covering on applications.
Okay.
Ma'am, it's my final question. Is it available offline?
Which one is available offline? The
This
course you mean?
DevOps? Yes.
No, it's only online. I only provide training online, no offline.
Only you are telling within 2 months the course will be completed, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you for joining.
Thanks, Preeti.
Thank you, Preeti.
Thank you all. Thank you for joining. See you all tomorrow. Good day. Bye, everyone.
Thank you all.